rides in support of H-Res 437. This resolution requests that the President transmit to the House of Representatives copies of any document or communication relating to the lease agreement between the Trump Old Post Office, LLC, and the General Services Administration for the redevelopment of the old post office building into the Trump International Hotel. The Trump Old Post Office, LLC, is completely owned and controlled by the President and his three oldest children who have minor interests. The lease agreement between Trump Old Post Office, LLC, and GSA explicitly prohibits any elected official of the U.S. government from serving as a lessee or from obtaining any benefit that may arise from the lease. Specifically, the lease states, quote, "No member or delegate to Congress or elected official of the government of the United States or the government of the District of Columbia shall be admitted to any share or part of this lease or to any benefit that may arise therefrom," end quote. So when President Trump was inaugurated on January 20th, 2017, he immediately became in breach of the lease. The clear terminology of the lease, it's a layperson can understand that President Trump is an elected official of the government of the United States of America. He is the top elected official of that government. And he is clearly in violation of the terms of the lease, but not just the terms of the lease, but the emoluments clause of our Constitution, which is what this lease clause seeks to guard against. It does not want to be in a position, the GSA, of aiding and abetting the breach of the emoluments clause or the violation of the emoluments clause of the United States Constitution. That's why this clause is in this agreement. It's a standard clause in all lease agreements that the GSA tenders to tenants. And who makes the decision about whether or not the President is in breach of the lease? Well, it's the contracting officer who works for the GSA who appoints, and the President, who is the lessee, appoints the administrator of the GSA. And also, it means that he's in charge of that contracting officer. So what you have is a bad situation here. The American people see it, feel it, hear it, they know it. And this committee should know it, and that's why this committee should be exercising vigorous oversight. And that's why this committee, being the committee in primary jurisdiction of GSA, should insist that there not be any violations of the lease and that there not be any violations of the Constitution. And so several crucial details about this deal between the Trump Organization and GSA remain unknown to Congress and the American taxpayer. Members of this committee have written to GSA 5 times to get additional information on this lease agreement, and each time GSA has refused to answer the inquiries in full. For example, GSA, despite our request, has not shared the legal opinion of the GSA General Counsel on whether there was a breach of the lease. In another example, the lease agreement requires the Trump Organization to produce several types of documents regularly. These documents have been withheld from this committee. GSA has refused repeatedly to share these documents despite our frequent requests. President Trump is supervising GSA officials negotiating with President Trump's 2 sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, on the meaning of the plain language of the post office lease agreement. And if these same appointed GSA officials who are then refusing to share the requested information with us, if they are not obeying us because they are beholden to the President, we have a problem. This is an unprecedented situation. It requires full transparency, and I expect every member of the committee would support this very reasonable resolution of inquiry. And with that, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Now recognizes Mr. Lobiondo.